Hi everyone, welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. How are you guys doing? Happy Tuesday to you all. Well, I'm here again, trying to get here a little bit earlier. Sometimes it's not possible, um, but I'm here today, guys, and I hope all is well and you guys are doing well. Um, I hope many of you listened to the video yesterday and that it helped you so that you can learn a little bit more about me and the trials and tribulations, that I've gone through, and why it was so important for me to heal. And anyone who listened to that video yesterday, the message, um, please know that you're not alone, and if you move forward and you keep going, you don't have to worry about you know um, succumbing to the trials and tribulations. Just keep moving forward. So I hope that video was beneficial and it helped a lot of you. Let me know in the comment category for those who watch. um, if not, guys, go back and watch it, the video from yesterday. It talks about, and the truth will set you free. So some days these videos are going to be light, and other days they're going to be intense, depending on you know what's going on. But for me, it was important to talk about that, get that out. It's so important to get the pain out. All these ways that I talk about are outlets for the pain. So I hope you guys are doing well, you're taking care of yourself, and that you're starting to feel better, because as you feel better, you do better. And thank you for showing up here daily on this channel. We're here to uplift and to help one another instead of tearing down, because there's so much of that in the world today. So guys, with that being said, know that I'm not a therapist, I'm not a social worker or a counselor. Just someone who's going through so much that it was important for me to heal, overcome, and to help others do the same, to let them know they can do this. So the topic of discussion, oh, one more thing, guys. Yes, I'm not a therapist, social worker, or counselor. So keep that in mind. I talk from a space of my own personal experiences and how I overcame these trials. So with that being said, the title today is Healing and Striving for Inner Peace. That has been my mission since I started, to heal all these things and to have inner peace. And I'm at a place now where I'm not bothered by all the noise, the drama, toxicity. Guys, I grew up with all of that stuff, and to the point where it seemed normal. And there's nothing normal about toxicity, people being abusive to you, bullying you, putting you down, all the things that make you feel less than zero. I went through it. And it took me a long time to get to this space in my life where I had to build myself up from the ground up. And not just build myself up, but build up my self-esteem as well, because it was like really so low, you couldn't get any lower, guys. And 2020 was a turning point for everything. And it just, as you do better, as you feel better, you do better. And as you do better, it raises your self-esteem as well as your awareness to everything that's going on around you. It changes your perspective, your mindset. Because for a long time, I thought I was supposed to be in that subservient energy of do for others while I neglect myself. And that is not how this is supposed to be. We should help others, but we need to take care of ourselves. Remember, without our mental or physical health, we can't help anybody else or ourselves. We can't do anything without that. So it's important to take care of your physical and mental health. And I know I talk a lot about it, but I had to work hard to do that, because I had toxicity around me for far too long, for so many years, to the point where it felt normal. And I used to ask myself, why me though? Why am I the one getting bullied? Why am I the one with the verbal abuse? Sometimes physical before. And why is all these things happening to me? But like I tell you guys, as I grew, heal, and evolve, my mindset had to change to see things from a different perspective. And what I learned is that in life, things, situations, and circumstances will come into your life for a reason, a season, a lifetime, or a lesson. And if these lessons are unlearned, they're going to keep repeating itself. And each time it comes back, it's going to be worse than ever. It's going to get worse and worse and worse until we learn these lessons. And once we sit down and say, okay, I see what's happening here. Repetition of different characters, but same scenario. And what we have to do is look at it, address it, and then, for me, I had to close the door to it, set strong boundaries, and then start closing doors. And then that way, as I recognized it and did these things, I didn't repeat lessons anymore because I've learned them. And once you learn them, you can move forward. You can close the door and, excuse me, I'm having allergies again today. Close doors and then move to your new beginnings. When people show you who they are, believe them. I used to make excuses, she or he is having a bad day, whatever it is, whether it's family, whether it's friends, significant others, whatever. Instead of making excuses, I see what's behind the mask now, the mask of deception. And I see people for who they are. And I'm not talking about little mistakes where we get up, we don't feel well, we're in a bad mood, nothing. I'm talking about pure, unadulterated toxicity. And, when a person just loves to abuse, because there's some people out there who love to put other people down, make them feel small and insignificant. That makes their day. And I had to see that for what it really was. And once I did, I had to learn through healing from the inside out, that I didn't deserve that. Once you start to do the work to heal, you start to love yourself. And when you love yourself, you start to understand what your worth is. I don't deserve this over here. What's this? And you start to, become bolder. In a lot of ways, you start to become bolder. Like, I know this is not for my highest good, so I am going to leave that where it is. I learned to say no. That was my problem before. I couldn't say no. I had a problem saying no to people, even though I was tired, even though I had other things to do that was on my plate. But I'm sitting here being subservient to other people who didn't care what I had on my plate or what I had to do. They just wanted me to, do what they wanted. And so after many, many years of this, I had to unlearn those things, change my mindset to realize that I was just as important as the next individual. It doesn't matter what they think. That's irrelevant. But I had to realize that I was important. And basically, after healing and doing the work, I had to snatch my power back because I had given it away for far so long. And, as I grew stronger and knew my worth and started to take time to heal and look at the elephant in the room that was growing bigger and bigger, instead of walking around it, I started to address it. Where's this pain coming from? Why is it happening? And as I looked at the pain, address it, I allow myself to feel it, and talk about it. That's an outlet for it. Yesterday was very difficult to talk about some of those things that I talked about in that message yesterday, but it was important because my best friend lost her life because of not getting help, because of just cruelty. Yes, she had an illness, but it goes far beyond that, and which I won't get into. But it just made me speak out against this, because what's in the dark shall be exposed to the light, and once it's exposed, it's rendered powerless. You can't unhear what you heard. You can't unsee what you already seen. If it's looking like a duck, walking and talking like a duck, then it must be a duck. And the things I heard just abusive, toxic things. And it just made me realize how much cruelty and wickedness is in this world. But I don't have to have it in my life. You don't have to have it in your life. This is why it's important to heal, because I had to understand that just because someone shared DNA with me, or someone went to school with me way back when and we grew up together, that we were not glued to the hip. I didn't have to have people in my life who were toxic, people who were cruel to me, people who felt entitled to my time, my energy, everything about me. I didn't have to have these people in my life. So I set strong boundaries, and when they dismissed and disrespected the boundaries, they got cut off permanently. Cut off, block, and delete. Because anything that's not for my highest good will never stay into my life. I don't. At first, I used to cry and get upset about it. Now I have going into that inner peace where I'm unbothered by it, because I did a pro and con list and saw what I was bringing to the table, and that they wasn't bringing much of anything. They basically had their hand open for things. And I had to realize that I could say no. Yes, I had to put the word no in my vocabulary, because I was an overgiver, being subservient and being used like a doormat. And it was important for me to heal these things. Because, like I said, I grew up in a house, no matter how traumatic things became, no matter what happens in this house stays in this house. But as I said yesterday, how can you heal if what happens in this house stays in this house? How can you address the pain? How can you heal, grow, and evolve? You stay stuck in that pain. So it's important to address it, talk about it. That's an outlet for the pain. And I started with therapy, and I still see my therapist once a week, every week, still today. It's important because there are a lot of things that I still need to address, but I've come a long way, guys, because I keep doing the work daily, and music is so healing to the soul, guys. Music, just, doing things that uplift my spirit. I do some crossword puzzles, things, laughter is the best medicine too. And surround yourself with people who really truly care about you, and not just care about you, but people who are going to motivate and uplift you. That's so important to have that. And the other people, the haters, is always going to be haters, but you don't have to tune into it. Shut the radio off on that. And what I do is just ignore it. One of the things that I've learned to do when people want to be in my face with toxicity and they want to get some kind of reaction out of me, I give them my silence, because they may think it's weak. There's nothing weak about it, because I'm telling you, as I go silent, I go into prayer, and then God does the rest. So there's something very powerful about being silent. It's just like when somebody start an argument with you for no reason over nonsense. If you keep going word for word because you want to get the last word, guess what, guys? It never ends, and they're just draining your energy, ciphering it. So in order to put a stop to that, you have to diffuse the fire instead of igniting it. And two people cannot argue if one person don't participate in it. So I go silent, and I let that person, I leave it where it is, and continue to do me. Take care of me. Never stop taking care of yourself. It doesn't matter who doesn't understand it. That's not your problem. When you take care of yourself, you do better, you feel better. And then you start to love on yourself. When you love yourself, you can give to other people. And if you had situations in your life where people wasn't given to you, just taken, you can change that by setting boundaries. And you can say no. You have a right to say no when it's infringing upon your time and the things that you need to do for you. Never feel guilty about saying no. I used to feel guilty for a long time. But as I grew stronger, and realized what was happening, especially after doing that pro and con list. I realized I have a right to be in a place of peace. I have a right to say no. I have a right to take my power back, guys. Take your power back as you start to do the work. And one of the ways you can slowly start doing the work, besides seeing a therapist, just do little things for yourself to build yourself up mentally. Go for walks. If you have a pet, take the pet out. Music, um, bubble baths. Do things that make you feel good about yourself. That's one of the places I start. Go get your hair done. Do things, makeup, whatever it is. New dress, new blouse. Something that, uplift your spirit. And a lot of comedy shows and things I watch because laughter is the best medicine besides music. And continue to take care of yourself. And it doesn't matter what other people are going to say, because you're going to have haters. And once you snatch back your power and do the work, sometimes you have to close doors because people are not going to understand as you start to grow, heal, and evolve. And that's okay, because as you close those doors, God has new doors over here, because I didn't do this alone. I did this with the help of God. There's no doing this alone. And as I cried my eyes out and cried myself to sleep many nights, God was there to uplift me, because as I took those steps, God kept taking steps behind the scene on my behalf, and then I started to feel better and do better. And guys, that's one of the best gifts you can give to yourself, is to love yourself and to take that pain, instead of succumbing to it, turn that pain into power. Power into purpose into moving forward, to helping yourself as you help others through your stories, your testimonies, and how you are still overcoming the trials and tribulations of toxicity, and how healing will always eventually lead you to inner peace. That's the message today, guys. Thank you for being here. Share this message with others. Invite them to stop by the channel and to listen to this message, because everyone doesn't talk about what they're feeling or what they're going through. But if they hear this message, they can be motivated and uplifted every time they stop by here. Remember, we're here to uplift. And you can tell me what you think in a comment category. Make sure they're respectable. And keep stopping by Monday through Friday, because there'll be a new message. Thank you, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. And this is Lisa shedding love and light. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Before you leave, there's going to be some links at the end of this video. Look at them. Stop by. Check them out and see if it's something that might be of interest to you. Thank you again, guys. Enjoy your day. Bye for now.